Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, guys, and welcome to another great edition of the Dontaes Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dante, and we got another great show for you guys as always. Man, we got a packed weekend of boxing, and we're going to talk about all these fights, do some breakdowns, predictions, as we always do. First things first, let me go and introduce the panel, as I always do, as well. Let me go and introduce my man on the phone lines, my man Kirk Jackson. He's a boxing writer for BoxingInsider.com. And in the studio with me, I got my man Milton Arline. What's going on, Milt?
Nothing much, Big Dante. What's going on? Happy to be here, man.
All right, man. We got a whole lot to talk about. We also going to take some phone calls as well, guys. So you see the number on the screen right there. Go ahead and call in, and we're going to take the calls in order, okay? We'll probably take some calls in the next maybe 20 minutes or so, but just stay patient, and we'll try to answer as many calls as we can. And if you guys got something on your mind, you want to talk about anything, go ahead and let us know what it is, all right? So let's go ahead and get things popping, man. Let's really get it popping, y'all. So, yeah, Milton, I ain't seen you in a while. We ain't talked boxing in a while, man.
It's been a minute, brother. It's been a minute.
So the first thing I want to ask you is, what fight, man, out of all these fights, you got Charlo versus Williams, Abner Mares versus Cuellar, Crawford versus Molina, Joseph Parker versus Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua versus Eric Molina, and you even got that's pretty much the main ones right there. What fight are you the most pumped up for right now?
To tell you the truth, I think the most evenly matched and the best competition fight is going to be Charlo and J-Rock.
Charlo and J-Rock.
I think that's going to be a really, really tough fight for both fighters. The fans, each guy has his own fan base, and each is passionate about their guy. But I really and truly believe that's the best competition fight that's going to be this weekend. Absolutely.
One of the most significant fights of the year.
Yes.
I truly believe.
Yes.
I feel, outside of Ward, Kovalev, even Lomachenko, Walters,
yes,
this is up there with them. Charlo versus
really
Williams.
Is.
And it kind of surprised me that it wasn't the main event because,
yeah.
I mean, I know, the fight is in California and, that's where they're going to have the Mexican fan base. But still, a fight that big, a fight that significant, two undefeated fighters. Because Cuellar versus Mares, that's a good fight too. But the thing is, we know that right now, Mares is on a roller coaster with his career.
He is. He really is.
So,
and after the loss to Santa Cruz, I really don't know where he is right now.
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out this weekend.
That's my exact point. We don't
Right.
know where he is. I mean, he's hot and cold all the time.
All the time.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Kirk, I mean, when it comes to what's the most significant fight, and how do you see the fight playing out of this weekend?
To me it's J-Rock and Charlo. I mean, this is what gets me upset. People want to say that boxing's dead or that there aren't any good fights anymore.
Yeah, I know.
This is a prime example where we have two young fighters in their prime, undefeated, facing each other off, and it's going to be on free TV at that.
Yeah,
so, I mean, I'm definitely.
You can't beat it, man. You definitely cannot beat it, man. So yeah, man. And I'm gonna go ahead and how do you see the fight playing out? Who would you pick? Who would you lean towards since we talking about it already? Kirk.
Oh man, I've been going back and forth with my decision. I'm leaning slightly towards Charlo just because I think he has a little bit more experience against.
All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead, man.
Oh, it's all good. I was going to say I'm leaning towards Charlo just because I think he has more experience against better competition with Austin Trout more recently. And I think he's a few inches taller and a slightly longer reach, and that may pay a dividend as the fight goes on. I'm rooting for a person. I'm rooting for J-Rock.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I think Charlo might take it.
Yeah. Hold on. Give me one quick second, man. Just one quick second. All right. Just had to get my calls ready and set up. Okay. So anyway, man, yeah, I'm slightly leaning towards Charlo in that fight. I just feel, he has more of a drive. He just, both fighters, they want to win, and neither one of them want to take an L. I just feel if I was forced to lean to someone, I just feel Julian Williams, he has a great inside game and a great outside game as well. So we already know when it comes to Charlo, he has that great ass jab. He could set you up with it. But I think Charlo, J-Rock, he's going to try to take that jab away and work on the inside.
You think so?
I think he can. I think he will. That'll most likely be his strategy, is try to take it to the inside. But we're going to see. What you think, Milt? Who are you leaning to when it comes to that fight?
To tell you the truth, I know a lot of people are going with Charlo. I think that they have, they're saying he has the better resume. Mm-hmm. And with Trout on the resume, it's hard to argue. But I've watched some of the competition that J-Rock has been in there with. And he's a very cerebral fighter. The cat is very intelligent in the ring. Mm-hmm. I think he doesn't get enough credit for that. And I can see him thinking his way through an opponent. And it's tough for me to go against a fighter who really brings his mind game into the ring. So I'm going with J-Rock in this one.
You're going to go with J-Rock?
I'm going with J-Rock. It's a 49-51 fight, 51-49 fight. Mm-hmm. And it's really tough to say who could really, but for me, it's that person who come in there mentally sharp. Yeah. And I think he's just going to come in a little bit mentally sharper.
Yeah. And you, what were you just saying before this, Milt? You were saying somebody, you was reading someone's message, and they were basically saying, J-Rock, he ain't fought nobody. And this is what we was talking about before the show, Milt. I don't understand why people always base a fight on if someone had fought someone. You guys have to understand something. Every fighter that you see today, there was a point where they hadn't fought anyone, and they made that transition from prospect to contender because they stepped up in competition.
Yes.
I remember when Floyd Mayweather, goes back to him, I remember when he was fighting against Janelle Hernandez. He had 17 fights.
Yes.
And Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley, they was like the nerve of Team Mayweather to think that they could just jump in here with a guy this experienced with only 17 fights and step up in competition and actually win the fight. Yes. They had him losing going into that fight because they felt he had never fought anyone.
I know.
So, everyone has done that. I remember when Eric Morales had fought against Daniel Zaragoza. I think it was that fight.
Yeah, I remember that fight.
And that was another fight like that where it was experience versus youth, and youth prevailed, so.
A lot of people, I'm sorry, Kirk, go ahead.
Also, I was going to say even more recently with Vasyl Lomachenko. I remember when he came out and people questioned,
That's a good point. And, that's another one. That's another one. And even when we watched, we seen a level of contrast with Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas, which was experience versus youth. But on the undercard, you had Donaire versus Jesse Magdaleno.
Right.
And Magdaleno was the one that prevailed, So, a lot, you can attribute a lot to that as well because styles make fights as well too. True. But still the case is that's pretty much what it is. And I'm leaning towards J-Rock. I'm slightly leaning towards J-Rock. I wouldn't be surprised if Charlo wins the fight. More power to whoever wins the fight. Basically,
yeah, more power to him. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing that I want everyone to understand is that when I know when I pick a fighter, I know how you are. And I'm pretty sure you like this, Kirk. We're not necessarily fans of a particular fighter. We're fans of a lot of different fighters. I'm a fan of both of these guys. Mm-hmm. I think that both of these are two tough, young.
All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Go ahead.
Two very young, tough competitors, and to the victor goes the spoils. Whoever wins, and I could care less who wins. But in my opinion, I really think J-Rock. I'm leaning towards J-Rock in this fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I don't pick based on my particular love for a fighter. I root for people, and I like how you said that, Kirk. You know what I'm saying? You were going with Charlo, even though you pull him for J-Rock, but you're being smart about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. And let me see if my man AK is on the line. AK, you there?
Yeah, what's up, Dante?
What's going on, man? So that's my man, A.K.A. Rap King. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. So we was just talking about the most significant fight of the weekend. I guess I don't have to ask the question. It's too obvious now of what's the most significant fight this weekend. We're going to talk about all the fights. But let me go ahead and get a quick breakdown and prediction from you real quick. How does that fight play out? Charlo versus Williams, AK.
Yeah, that's the underdog fight of the year. You know, I mean, it's kind of like
all callers are muted.
Go ahead.
It's kind of like the Lomachenko versus Walters, Ward versus Kovalev underdog fight of boxing, because nobody really talking about it, but it's really significant fight.
I see what you're saying.
You know, and I honestly, man, I was hoping this fight won't get canceled for the many times it got made and got canceled.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? You're right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but to answer your question, as far as the fight, man, this is a really tough one for me to pick. It's really hard because due to what each fighter brings to the table. I mean, as far as if J-Rock Williams was fighting Charlo, the other Charlo,
yeah.
I would have picked, J-Rock, no problem. But I feel like he find a better Charlo brother.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That makes it even closer. You know, he has the height and reach advantage and stuff like that. But like you seen I don't know if it's last week or the week before that, but you seen, Lomachenko, when he fought Walters, he kind of neglected the reach, and showed that he, reach doesn't really matter. And when you so much more skilled than the other guy,
Mm-hmm.
But is J-Rock Williams that much more skilled than Charlo, or are they pretty much on the same level, and it's gonna make a different fight night or not? So I mean, I will lean a little toward more J-Rock Williams. I feel like he's more of a complete fighter to me. But I
just see that same thing.
Charlo, but Charlo could really take it. Like, there's no doubt about it. I just feel like, I don't know. I see J-Rock Williams being more the complete fighter when I watch him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like how Charlo looked versus Austin Trout, even though it was a pretty good fight. I was expecting a little more dominance from him, because he had the range and height and the youth. I thought he would be more dominant.
Did y'all see how
he wasn't?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Say what you were gonna say.
No, I was just gonna say, did y'all see how much bigger, he looked in Trout?
Yeah.
I mean, him and his brother, man, they are some big junior middleweights, man.
Because he can hardly make 154, and then he's a really big 154-pounder.
He is.
But is that gonna? But by the end of the day, he didn't dominate the Trout fight like I thought he would. He would have had with the size advantage and all that. So, I mean, like I said, it's a really hard fight to pick. You know what I'm saying? Because we haven't seen J-Rock fight any fighter on this level. But at the same time, we never seen Charlo fight somebody on this level. So this is really going to tell me who's the second or maybe the second best guy in the division, honestly.
Yeah. And
there's been talk about Charlo possibly moving up after this fight, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, he actually said it. It was funny because since you brought that up, Kirk, he actually said that before the Austin fight. He said he was going to move up to middleweight after the Austin fight, and then all of a sudden he changed his mind. And now he's saying it again. But I tell you right now, I mean, really depending on how this fight plays out, that would be an excellent fight. Any of these guys at the top level of the junior middleweight division, you got the Charlo brothers. Well, not Jamel right now, but Jamal, and then Demetrius Andrade. I think
Boo-Boo Andrade.
Yeah,
like, man.
I would pick Andrade over Golovkin right now. Now everyone else, I'm not sure.
Golovkin?
Yeah, I would pick Andrade over Golovkin, man. I mean, the
range. I'm with you.
The
I don't
range,
know about that one.
to me, and he's been compared to this guy, and I know it may sound crazy, but I remember a lot of people was comparing him to a tall southpaw Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? The way he adjusts, his slickness. I mean,
hey, don't get me wrong.
Huh.
I like Boo-Boo Andrade, but I just think that's a tall order right there.
It is a tall order. It is a tall order.
Who was that? Willie Nelson? Was it
Willie Nelson
in the last fight?
I was impressed in
Man,
that performance.
I was impressed also, but it took him a while to chop him down. I do not see him chopping down Triple G.
Styles make fights, man.
I can say it. Yeah, you can say that.
Well, I mean, Willie. I mean, you got to look at it this way. If Kell Brook can move up from welterweight to middleweight and give Golovkin more problems than almost any opponent did in the last couple of years, you got to think, what would a Demetrius Andrade do?
This is about to turn into one of those classic Dante Milt arguments, because this is the thing. I wish people would understand that what we saw from Brook against Triple G was fool's gold. Triple G, that's fool's gold. And let me tell you something. Triple G had zero. He gave 0 Fs about Brook's power.
I don't believe that, though.
He couldn't care less. He couldn't care less about that power.
But Milton,
man.
If that were the case, Milton, Golovkin would not be sitting back waiting for him to finish punching. Because when you don't care about a person's punch, you walk through the punch and you keep punching with that person. With him, this is how you can tell a person is respecting your power, or they just respecting your skills or whatever it is, because he sat there, he would let Kell Brook get off a 4-punch combination, he'll just stand there blocking, and then he'll, start his attack. But those fighters like Mike Tyson, they don't wait for you to stop punching. They go under, they bob and weave, and they counter your attack. You see what I'm saying?
But I'll also say this, though. There were times in that fight I was seeing Triple G uncharacteristically just throwing, haymaker shots, not setting it up with that stiff jab. When the first time I really saw him and was impressed was with Stevenson, because he pumped that jab in Stevenson's face until he softened him up, man. He chased him around that ring and then started crippling him with body shots until he got him so soft he couldn't help but fall.
Yeah,
I saw him do the same thing with the Canadian boy.
Canadian.
Lemieux.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
well, he outboxed.
Yeah,
that was more of an outboxing what he did to Lemieux.
He was just jabbing him.
Yeah,
he was jabbing him and crushing him to the body.
That's what I mean. But it wasn't. But go ahead, AK.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to say, but the difference in those fights and that fight, that Kell Brook is honestly more skilled than Golovkin. So you can't expect Golovkin to go in there and try to box him, because he might lose a boxing match versus Kell Brook, because he's a guy who's actually has more skill, so he had to use his size advantage that he has and the power advantage.
Put it this way:
and just walk and bully his opponent down. But at the end of the day, he was bullying him in the first round. But then what happened? That's another thing. Surprised him and got him surprised in the second round, because in the first round he was trying to get him out.
He was.
And then all of a sudden,
he said he felt his power in the first round, and then he was
body shots and headshots. Trust me, he was.
He was.
You know what I'm saying?
He was.
AK, so you just.
I think it was more so though, like not just Kell Brook's skills that presented a problem for Golovkin, but his athleticism.
Yeah.
And Andrade is very athletic.
I give it to you. You're right about that. Now, I'll say that.
Speed, his range, intelligence. I think that would give Golovkin some problems.
Absolutely, Kirk.
That hand speed is incredible.
And another thing too, Milt, AK just brought up a really good point. Y'all just touched on it. The fact that Golovkin came out aggressive in the first round, that means he wasn't trying to hang around. He wasn't trying to, just play with Kell Brook. He was trying to knock Kell Brook out in the first round. When you think of the fact that the smaller guy gets hurt in the first round, how does he manage to come back, rally back, and even make it competitive?
I'll say this. In defense of Brook, he showed me something in that fight.
Oh, absolutely.
He showed me the reason why he is a champion. He showed championship mettle in that fight. He was hurt really bad in the first round, and he showed pride. He got up, he came out from that point on and said, hey, man, I just got to fight this guy. And he really and truly gave what he had. But Golovkin knew it wasn't going to be enough. I knew it wasn't going to be. You knew it wasn't going to be enough.
Yeah.
And eventually Golovkin was going to catch him. But Golovkin was swinging wild in that fight. Uncharacteristically, I've never seen him not use that stick. He has one of the best jabs in the business. And he opened himself up quite a bit. He was there to be hit. He was there. He was frustrated.
I
think he was frustrated because he hadn't dropped him yet.
He said to himself, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind, because I know Golovkin didn't say to himself going in that fight, I expect to, be bloodied up, battered.
No,
I expect to have this small guy, back me up and all that kind of stuff. He didn't expect any of that. And if we look at the history of the sport, Milt, just like I know, the majority of fighters who went in there saying, I let this dude hit me, or I let that last opponent hit me because, I just want to show how tough I was. I want to entertain and please the fans. The majority of fighters who say stuff like that, when they step up in competition, they usually get outboxed or knocked out easily. You notice that, right?
I mean,
because I remember even, I think of, so many fights, but I reference Floyd Mayweather once again because he's the best fighter of this generation, and I think of Corrales versus Mayweather. I remember Corrales going into that fight. He was like, I expect a lot of my opponents, I expect them to win the first couple rounds, especially if they're faster than me, but eventually I'll catch up with them, right?
Right.
You think like that, like, I'm not worried about this guy just hitting me. I'm not worried about losing a couple rounds because I'll catch up eventually. Then eventually you get in there with a guy who you give a head start to, but that motherfucker turned out to be too fast to catch up with. Like if we racing right now,
this
and I'm
is the only point I want to
make.
make about your argument. You talking about Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
Brook ain't Floyd Mayweather.
No, but a person with a lack of defense. I'm talking about fighters that lack defense.
Okay.
And I'm saying any fighter that lacks defense and they're fighting against a smaller guy,
right,
who's naturally smaller. Even Golovkin himself, he said the dude was too small. He said it after the fight.
He did.
He said he wasn't a middleweight.
He's not.
He was too small.
Yep.
So you have to look at it this way, though, Milt. If a guy that's that small can get that much respect from you, land that many punches, and be that comfortable in the ring with you, how good is a guy who's not that small?
I'll put it like this.
Who's taller, who's slicker, because I believe that Demetrius Andrade, he might even be a little bit, and that's up for debate, and I understand that, but he may be even slicker than Kell Brook. Because I got a lot of respect for Kell Brook.
Boo-Boo Andre
he gave himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say he gave Golovkin gave himself 3 as far as the grade, like as far as how good he performed.
Yeah, out of 10. Out of 10.
Tells you that that already tells you he's not happy with what he did.
Yeah, exactly. Because, his trainer gave him a 4 out of 10. Yeah,
I agree with him. It wasn't his best performance. It was not his best performance. But what I want everybody to understand is right. But what I want everybody to understand is, don't take that as this is how he's going to approach.
But
someone he respects.
But if you look
someone's
at
power he respects.
But
I don't think he's going to come in there that reckless.
If you look at the
defense,
history,
is not that great.
If you look at,
it's not that great. It's not that great.
Once again, you look at the history of the sport. The majority of fighters that came out and they looked vulnerable against a certain opponent that wasn't on their level, when they stepped up to a higher level, they got further exposed. It's happening. Especially when it comes to a flat-footed, aggressive fighter, who comes forward. Those are often the fighters that we see get exposed like that. And I just truly believe someone with the athleticism of a Demetrius Andrade, he would give Golovkin all kind of problems. Don't get me wrong. Demetrius Andrade, he would have to avoid getting caught with something for 12 rounds because obviously Golovkin has a natural size and a power that could disrupt, something that Andrade is doing. But if I was forced to bet, I would be picking Andrade on that one, man. He's the only one out of everyone at 154.
Let me know when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe need some new shoes.
Like
Okay. Go ahead,
it's like this, Dante. It's like this. If a fighter shows that he don't have a great defense in a big fight, he's not gonna have a great defense out of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
The only thing you can really change is take the guy more seriously, be more cautious. But at the end of the day, if you don't have good defense and you don't move your head in a big fight, it's not like out of a sudden you're just gonna get great defense and you're gonna start moving your head. So with Demetrius Andrade, that's. If you ask me, Demetrius Andrade has better inside work than Golovkin.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed that in his last fight. But the only thing that's going against Demetrius Andrade is the fact that he's really inactive. And that's what's hurting Demetrius Andrade at this point. And the 154 pound division is so deep. You know, you got Lara, Charlo-Williams, Charlo brothers. You know what I mean? It's so deep, and we still, a lot of people feel like he's the best in that division because people feel like he's that good. But at the end of the day, you know, it's the only thing that if they fight is he need to be more active. But yeah, I mean, I can see how Andre could take the fight, obviously, because of his reach and skill, and he could fight in the inside. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I think Golovkin can't do, and he shows in a lot of his fights that he's a rangy fighter.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? But he just like has a lot of power, and then you know like somebody like Demetrius Andre with his speed, he could really take advantage of somebody like Golovkin. And we never seen Golovkin fight somebody as good as Andre, skill-wise and size-wise.
Absolutely.
And to keep in mind, also, Golovkin, he turned 35 in April, I believe, so he's not getting any younger. And, I mean, I think we can kind of see there's been somewhat of a physical decline, and you're not going to physically get better as you get older.
No, you don't.
Absolutely.
You know, and when you get on that 40 side of 35, there is sometimes it's a gradual drop off, but it's a drop off, and then some people it's like a fall off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? You see them just completely fall off. Yeah. You know, but when you get on that 40 side of 35, but I will say this, and I agree with a lot of what you all are saying. Demetrius Andrade is definitely more skilled. He's slicker. His hand speed is tremendous. His inside game, I love it. But it's just certain fighters, they beat you. You know, they don't come to the ring with a whole lot of skill. I give you a prime example was, you know, Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield, he wasn't coming in trying to be slick, but he's a straight heavyweight. But
Evander Holyfield was extremely skilled, though. You can't use him.
He was
extremely skilled.
But he wasn't coming in with
slickness. He's a headbutt master.
He said a headbutt master.
He was a headbutt master.
But he wasn't coming in, man, trying to, you know, dazzle you with no jabs and get light on his toes. He coming in to whoop your ass. He coming in. He's a robot.
No, but I mean,
he coming in like a machine. But you can't stop him. You just gotta beat him down.
But he's setting you up with. I mean, you can't really compare him to like a Golovkin.
I've seen Golovkin set people up. Golovkin has set up his shots. And the thing is,
but Holyfield will box. He'll do all kind of different stuff.
I never seen Holyfield box.
When he fought against George Foreman, when he fought against
Holyfield, toe-to-toe.
When he fought against Michael Dokes, when he was a cruiserweight. I mean, when he was fighting against certain aggressive fighters that just came forward, he boxed. Like I said, against George Foreman, and that was him in his prime. He straight boxed. Even Riddick Bowe, he boxed against Bowe because Bowe was 30 pounds bigger than him. So that's why I wouldn't compare him.
That was a toe-to-toe war in all three. Oh yeah. But the second fight, I say he boxed more. Yeah, I will say he outboxed Riddick Bowe in the second fight. But the first and third,
the reason I can see, you know what I'm saying, Holyfield compared to Golovkin is because I never seen Golovkin counter anybody, like as far as like a uppercut counter. You know what I mean? Like,
he's not really a counter puncher.
He's not. Yeah, it's like he takes chances, like not chances, but he takes turns. Like I hit you, you hit me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if you hit harder than me, then I feel like he's in trouble. You know what I mean? Like he's the type of guy like he probably get mentally frustrated because I don't see no, you know, plan B, plan C in his arsenal, the way he fights. And, you know, with Holyfield, he was kind of different. He was very skilled, and, you know, he could box his ass off. But, you know, as far as that comparison, and you know, Demetrius Andrade, obviously, he's a great fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. But the only thing is that I don't think he's as naturally as good as Floyd. You know, Floyd was just, like, naturally way more gifted. Yeah. But I feel like you don't need to be that good to beat Golovkin. I mean, I just feel like he's good enough to pull it off.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Golovkin can't be beaten. Don't get me wrong. And I see holes in his game. His defense is not that solid. His defense is usually, you know, his offense. He hits you so hard that you forget about, you know, trying to attack him. And you know, I've seen Golovkin can be beat, definitely. But it's going to take somebody who can seriously go in and get his respect early in the fight. Make him cautious about coming in, make him cautious about opening up. But I just don't see Andre with that power. That's the only thing I'm saying about that fight. I don't see Andre.
Well, you saw what Andre did in his last fight.
It took him 12 rounds to get Willie Nelson out of there. It took him 12 rounds, and he was out boxing. And I'm talking about, man, he was beating the shit out of Willie Nelson the entire fight. But it took him forever to get him out of there. I just didn't see the power.
And guy, hold on real quick. I just want to say real quick because I know we've been talking about this for a minute.
Yeah, I know we went down a rabbit hole.
We're gonna take a call, and we're gonna take a call in a minute. I mean, I just wanted to say one more thing about that, Milt. You cannot rely on power though, because we already know fighters like Pernell Whitaker, fighters like Floyd Mayweather, they didn't have to rely on power, and usually brains beats bronze in this sport of boxing. You know what I mean? You got somebody like Floyd who moves up 5 weight classes. He's easily beaten. He's a huge favorite over Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? And Canelo has all of the physical attributes and advantages over Floyd. So he had the power advantage, you know? So same thing. I mean, if Floyd Mayweather and Golovkin were the same size naturally, and we all know that Golovkin is much stronger than Floyd Mayweather, I could guarantee you Floyd would be a huge favorite. If they were naturally the same size,
I give it to Floyd.
Welterweights,
I mean, yes, of course.
And not even him, though. I mean, I would say, I mean, fighters that have that slickness, you know, that intelligence, Pernell Whitaker, even Lomachenko, you know, fighters like that on that level, Andre Ward, naturally the same size, you put a fighter like that in the ring with a aggressive come forward fighter who doesn't have the greatest defense, usually 8 times out of 10 history shows that the aggressive fighter, he loses against a smarter fighter. But you know, let's go ahead and take a call real quick. We ain't took a call in a minute, so we had this dude waiting on hold for a while. So we got area code 303 and online, I should say. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Dante? Big fan from Colorado. What's going on, Philly?
For sure.
What's good?
What's good, man? What's on your mind, man?
First of all, I wanted to give my, you know, I just had to say I was out there for that Ward Kovalev, man. I thought that atmosphere was electric in the building, man. I had to make it out there for that.
Yeah.
But I got a good question. Since Troyanowski just lost over the weekend,
yeah, we're gonna talk
do you
about
think that'll excel the process of Terrence Crawford moving up to welterweight by the end of this year, by the end of 2017, I mean?
Wow, that's a really good question, man. Yeah. And you know, man, I talked to Crawford's trainer, and he told me that that's what they were targeting. They were targeting moving up to the welterweight division. So it looks like it's going to be sooner rather than later. I mean, like you just said, they wanted that last belt against Troyanowski, and now since he just got knocked out, which, by the way, to just touch on or add on what he just said, for those guys who don't know, Troyanowski, who was one of the title holders at the junior welterweight division, he just got knocked out, completely knocked the fuck out in the first round in 40 seconds against boy from Namibia. I forget his name,
Julius Ndongo.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, well, I mean, I had never heard of him. All I know is he's undefeated. All I know is the guy's undefeated.
Let's see him versus Crawford. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I was about to say it probably wouldn't be as big as Troyanowski, but I guess it would, because nobody really knew who Troyanowski was either. He was a title holder. I mean, he had a bigger name than the dude who just knocked him out.
Right.
But basically, to answer your question, man, I think Crawford, he'll be moving up pretty soon. Man, but if he does move up, oh my God. It's already fireworks at the welterweight division with Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, you know, and the guys like Sean Porter, who's still lingering around and everything. What about you, Milt? You want to see Crawford move up to welterweight or hang out at junior welterweight for a little longer?
To tell you the truth, I would like to see him hang out at junior welter for a little while longer. Yeah. I really don't think that there's a need to rush up there to the 147 division, even though that's where a lot of competition is right now. I think I mean, if he, I just don't see that right now for him. I just don't. At 147 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I think if he did move up, do you think he's ready for all of the title holders that they're?
This is all I'm going to say. And this is all I'm going to say. And Crawford's my boy, you know. But all I'm going to say is I don't think nobody beating Errol Spence, man. I
don't either.
I don't see I don't care who it is. I
don't either.
I don't see nobody beating Errol Spence, you know. So I just leave it at that. And I would say in second place, outside of Errol Spence, I don't see nobody probably beating Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? But at the top.
See, but I think that would be the best shot to beat Spence be somebody that could move a little bit around the ring. I don't think Keith Thurman's defense is solid enough, and I think he'll get stopped by Earl Spence, honestly. But I just don't think there's enough competition at junior welterweight for him to get his just due in the pound-for-pound rankings.
I do
I would like to
understand
see him
that.
stay there as well, but the competition is just not there for him unless he gets Broner in there.
That's the one I want to see him. That's what the one I want to see.
I can really see him.
Well, one
staying
thing.
there for besides that.
Well, one
Or
thing.
the guy with the gold medal.
One thing I will say is you guys also have to remember there's always new prospects emerging in the sport of boxing.
You're right.
Like right now you have Jose Ramirez, who's an Olympian, and he's coming up right now. Matter of fact, I believe he's with Top Rank too. He's an undefeated prospect, tall, he's a real good fighter. Like I said, once again, he's a U.S. Olympian, and, someone like him could be big for Crawford. Mikey Garcia just recently said that it would be a big fight. And then that doesn't, suggest, that doesn't prove that he really wants that work with Crawford, but he did say that would be a big fight because we already know Bob Arum, he wanted to put him in there with Crawford. And Mikey Garcia has said something like, I tell you what, I'll fight. He said, I'll fight Crawford if you, let me out of the contract, so I don't really know, but I'll tell you, that would be a huge fight. There's a lot of, you got Rancis Barthélemy. To me, Rancis Barthélemy versus Crawford, that's a 50-50 fight to me. I think Rancis Barthélemy.
I saw the video you did with him at the gym. He said he's interested in that fight too in the future.
Yeah. That's a big fight. Rancis is one of my boys, man. You could put him somewhere at the bottom of the top 10 pound for pound, I truly believe. Especially when you look at what he did to Dennis Shafikov and you look at what Shafikov has been able to do after that. Shafikov, he beat Jamel Herring from the Olympics. He knocked him out. And then we just had this fight this weekend where him and Richard Comey, they went toe-to-toe. That was a great fight. It could have went either way. And I give props to Comey too, man. Comey, he lost the fight, razor-thin fight, but you can almost say Comey is still undefeated, man, because he had the close fight with Robert Easter, and now he has this close fight with Shafikov. So, those are some more great opponents.
I was really hoping that Comey could have come out the victor on that one. I was hoping for him because then it could have set up another fight with him and Easter. That was a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, man, thanks for your call, man. I'll catch up with you, all right?
Appreciate the time, fellas. Dante, man, respect to you, man. Keep doing your thing, brother.
I appreciate it, fam. I appreciate it. Take care, man. All right, man. Yep. So,
Dante.
Go ahead, AK.
Yeah, man, the fight right there. I don't feel like Terrence Crawford should move up right away to 147, honestly, man. It's too deep over there right now, and he's still kind of growing. So kind of like, stay at your own lane right now and fight 140. You got Rancis Barthélemy. That's a 50-50 fight, like you said. That's a huge tough fight. If you could make a fight with Mikey Garcia, which I don't think he really want to fight, though, but, if you could drag him, to 140 and fight him, that's I would like to see that. And then the other guy, I don't know his name, man, but he fought he fights at 147 and 140. He's a gold medalist, I think.
Felix Diaz.
Yeah, Felix Diaz.
Yeah,
and he's very awkward. He would give Crawford a lot of problems. His style makes fight. His style is like, I'm not gonna say I won't pick him to beat Crawford, but his style was kind of like to upset guys like Crawford.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely.
That's another good fight.
If they were fighting this weekend, I wouldn't say I'd pick Diaz to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he won.
I wouldn't either.
Exactly. I'll just say that here.
For me, when we talk about people moving up in weight, I just think that I think people, you move up before your body's ready. You'll find out sooner or later. You'll be kind of like Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner, he's one of those tweeners. He can't make 140, but he's not strong enough for the guys at 147.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do it when your body is naturally ready. Some people have the skill and the power. They can add that weight and they can move up. But there are some people who, it's just not for them.
And let's not forget, Crawford, he already moved up a couple weight classes
he
already.
Has.
So it's not like,
right.
I mean, your Golovkin fans going to hate this, but it's not like the Golovkin situation where he's in one division and he's considered one of the strongest punchers in the whole sport. So you would think, right, Milt, that someone like him, he could actually move up if there was no competition at 160 and there was a major fight at 168, which we know he won at the Froch fight. But there's bigger, bigger fish out there that's actually willing to fight, because we know Froch just be talking. He done got a nose job. He getting this Michael Jackson on. He got his nose done, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got nose surgery, so yeah, he ain't trying to come back and mess up that new pretty nose he got now. So,
hey, gentlemen, really quick, I wanted to mention, I think with Crawford, back to the whole weight thing, I think he should take a note from Danny Garcia. And you know how Danny, he fought a few catchweights first. He fought a few guys that maybe weren't considered the champion, but from mid-level to gatekeeper to upper elite, with Rod Sawker was obviously a gatekeeper, or not even a gatekeeper, just.
But he fought Paulie. He fought Paulie as a gatekeeper.
Right, Paulie, Malignaggi, Lamont Peterson,
and he struggled against Paulie.
Guerrero.
Guerrero,
no, he's talking about Danny Garcia.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Broner. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you should kind of take that route, and slowly but surely move on your way up. Fight a few catchweights between 140 and 147.
Right.
Up the competition slowly but surely, and then have that big fight like you're doing with Keith Thurman. Well, I think that's what Crawford should do.
Well, once again, I mean, he has competition at 140. I mean, everyone said he was going to duck. What's his name? Victor Postal. They said he was afraid. They said, I'm not going to give him the respect unless he fights Victor Postal, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of fighters, they don't have a fighter like that in their division where fans are questioning what would happen if he fights this guy, if he fights Victor Postal, et cetera, et cetera. And when you don't have those type of opponents in your division and you're strong enough, or you're even hinting to fans that you could move up 2 weight classes if need be, then those are the people and the fighters that you would expect to move up in weight. But let's try to touch on some of these other fights before we run out of time, man. So and then we have Crawford versus Molina. We just touched on Crawford, so I mean we could do this real quick and just go ahead and I mean there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to this fight. We know what the outcome is. I guess all we should really do, maybe we should just do a pool right now and just pick a round right now. That's probably what we should do right now.
Right.
So I'm a go. You know what, man? 8-10. I got 8-10. What you got, Milt?
I got 6-8.
6-8.
Yeah.
Kirk, what you got?
I'm going with 8-10.
8-10. AK.
Sam. Molina's tough, man, but I say 8-10 because of the body work, and you get some out, but I won't be surprised if he goes 12 because Molina is a tough guy. But he's gonna beat the shit out of him, though. I'll tell you that much.
Oh wait! Y'all got it, but y'all got it twisted. I'm picking Molina to win 8-10. What y'all talking about? No.
Hey.
I just want to wake. I just wanted to wake y'all up. That's all. I just wanted to wake everybody up. That's all.
You can't smoke that while we out here, man. You gotta wait.
Oh my
you must
goodness.
Be smoking.
Oh,
but I tell you, this is the thing, man. This is a pure showcase. Hey, we didn't give you what you were looking for against Victor Postal when we should have. So we want to send you all off, at the end of the year with a good knockout from Terrence Crawford. I think this is a pure showcase fight.
Absolutely. It's a showcase fight. But, and once again, it's coming off of a big win, though.
It's coming off of a big win, and he needs to stay busy. And I know they all can't be top-tier guys that he's fighting. So I understand that.
And let's not forget, he wanted Manny Pacquiao. Bob Arum wanted Manny Pacquiao, and they couldn't get it. Go ahead, AK.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about, ain't there like fights in the UK as well, like Joshua and some other fights?
Yeah, we wanted to get to that too. Joshua is it Molina? Yeah, Joshua Molina. And for me, to to date, I think this is going to be the Dylan White fight was pretty tough for Joshua also, but for me, I think this is a really good, tough, step up, durable guy. If he go, of course, I think he's going to win. I think Joshua's going to win, but I saw Molina. He impressed me in a loss. As much as he got his ass whooped against Deontay Wilder, it was some things that he did in there that impressed me. Oh yeah, I really was impressed by him. He didn't just come in there to fold. He really tried to give it all he had, and he did show some skill in that fight. So I think this is a good stay busy fight for Anthony Joshua.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. And somebody
anybody picking Molina?
I pick him to go to distance.
To go to distance.
You pick him to go to distance?
The Molinas, man.
He ain't going.
The Molinas.
Hey,
man.
I like him. I love his story, and
I do too.
He's tough as nails.
He is tough. He's tough.
I think there's too much of disparity and skill with him and Joshua.
Yeah.
But it got nothing to do.
I'm just messing around, man.
But we all know it got nothing to do with liking, though. I mean, either you can sing. Either you can sing or you can't sing.
That's true.
So that's pretty much what it is. And I don't see him going the distance. I mean, because I know for a fact that just because Molina is going to go in there, he's going to respect the shit out of Crawford. He's going to try to fight Crawford the same way he fought Broner. Everybody expected, because Molina is an aggressive fighter and all of that. A lot of people expected him to just go in there, toe to toe. But it's funny because the aggressive fighter, he was fighting passive. He was the reluctant fighter. So he's going to do the same thing in the Crawford fight. But I don't think, no matter what he does, nothing is going to really save him. But we done had some guys on hold for quite some time. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take this call right now. So we got area code 323. Or actually, we're going to go with 832 is online. What's going on, man? 832. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing? I tell you, I want to ask you, what you think about the Charlo brothers? I think it's a pretty tough fight with the Williams, but I really don't know too much about the person he's fighting. Can you educate me on him?
You said you don't know too much about Williams?
Yeah, I don't know too much about him.
Well, Williams, matter of fact, go ahead, Milt.
I mean, J-Rock is a very complete fighter. He has great skill. I like his inside game. I like how he puts his punches together. This is going to be a very, as we discussed earlier, this is like a 51-49 type fight. I mean, it's hard to say who's going to really take this one because out of all the fights this weekend, they're the ones that are most. It's going to be the most competitive fight.
No doubt about it. And I mean, he has a strong amateur pedigree, strong amateur background. Something else you need to know is Charlo was never really in a rush to fight against Julian Williams. Mm-hmm. He's, to me, Julian Williams he almost reminds me of a slicker Felix Trinidad almost.
I could go with that.
Yeah, he's an aggressive.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, he's an aggressive fighter, but he's a little bit more slicker, a little bit more flashier and faster than a Felix Trinidad. He's a knockout artist. He usually fights on the inside, but if he needs to adjust, he can box circles around his opponent as well. Very accurate. Like I said before, strong boxing amateur pedigree. So,
Beautiful
man.
Jab.
Yeah, great jab, all-around fighter, and there's a reason why a lot of fans, at least the majority of people I talk to, from professional boxers to boxing fans, the majority of them are picking Julian Williams to actually beat and upset Jamal Charlo. So this is a real fight, and that's what makes this fight so significant because, I mean, it's
go ahead.
The
last question I have to ask you is about Danny Garcia. Why people think he easy picking? Like, I done seen, don't get me wrong, I'm not really, every time I watch Danny fight, it seems like I see a lot of holes in his game, but I have to give the man props. Each fight, he constantly progress, and get better, and he wins fights. And he got a good resume. But just like Terrence Crawford finna fight Molina, they gave Danny Garcia a lot of flack when he was finna fight him, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, Kirk, one of you guys go ahead and respond to that.
I mean, I mean, as far as the reason why people like don't think highly of Danny Garcia, even though he got a good resume and stuff, is because first of all, he kind of his style is basic, but he does the basics well. So he looks beatable. So when you look beatable, a lot of people just automatically go against you in fights. You know what I'm saying? Because you look that beatable. You know, but he has, and he just has enough. You know what it takes to win the fight. You know, most of the time. But and then he kind of like was at a gift. He had some couple gift decisions in his career, so that's why I kind of like a lot of people give him a lot of hate. And I feel like it's also kind of like he kind of cherry picked for a little bit when he moved to 147 because he fought Paulie, then Guerrero. You know, after back-to-back losses. You know what I'm saying? And so it took him a long time till he fought a Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? Like it took him like 4 fights or 5 fights before he fought a big fight.
You know,
that makes sense because the only fight I really seen him struggle in my opinion, against Peterson. Like that, when he fought Peterson, my personal opinion, I feel like Peterson won that fight. I feel like Peterson picked up about round 4, I guess, when he figured Danny out. And I really feel like he was winning the fight. But, you know, he won. But that's the reason why I think
he struggled against Mauricio Herrera, too.
Herrera, yeah.
Yeah, he struggled against Herrera as well. Go ahead.
I think people are kind of turned off by his father, too, because his father likes to talk a lot of shit.
Angel talks cash shit.
Okay. I think that turns him off.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and also, he has that association with Al Heyman, and for whatever reason, people tend not to like Al Heyman fighters.
Yeah, that's true as well. But hey, let me go ahead and say thanks to my man from area code 832, man. Take care, all right, man?
All right, thank you, brother.
All right, no problem, man. So, yeah, we're going to take another call in a minute. But to add on to what he was saying and kind of give my full response, you know, it's funny because Danny Garcia from day one, I don't know exactly what it is, but people always looked at him as a wild winger throwing wild hooks. But I've always thought that Danny Garcia was underrated, man. And I truly believe that Danny Garcia, he's going to give Keith Thurman all types of fits. I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't pick him. I wouldn't pick him to beat Thurman, but I think that's going to turn out to be probably Keith Thurman's toughest fight, man. I mean, I just feel
I do too.
I feel Danny Garcia, you know, he doesn't get anaugh credit for his boxing ability. Yeah, he got exposed a little bit in the Lamont Peterson fight, and I mean, even in the last half of the judo fight.
That fight.
Huh?
I picked Lamont to win
that
fight.
Oh, you did pick Lamont?
Yeah, I picked Lamont.
Did we talk about that?
I think we did. It's been a long time since it's been a while since the fight.
Okay.
But I picked Lamont in that fight, and I knew because I knew where Lamont was, and I knew Danny was struggling trying to make weight, and I knew that he was, you know, even though it was at a catch weight, I believe it was at what 144.
Was it at a catch weight?
Yeah, 143.
140.
Something like that. 143, 144, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. And I knew Danny was kind of – but I'll tell you this about Danny. And I saw that same thing too. I think that was you, Kirk, saying that, you know, he looks beatable. Or was that you, AK? One of your guys was saying that, you know, people look at Danny and they see him as being beatable. And I was that exact same way. Watching Danny until I saw him fight Lucas Matisse. The Matisse fight is where he won me over.
Yeah,
and I saw that he was he had exceptional skill because I just thought that he had just been getting lucky with Khan. I always knew Khan's chin was suspect. I thought he was lucky in a couple of the fights, and then when I saw how he thoroughly dominated, I was like, this cat is a top tier dude. And so I had to give him some props, but I'm just still not sold right now for him at 147 because he fought Paulie and he fought Ghost Guerrero. I'm really not, you know, I don't know if
he's sold completely.
I'm not sold completely that he's ready for Thurman. Definitely not ready for Spence. Don't think he's ready. You know, it's a couple of other guys that maybe one or two other guys. I would like to see him.
Nobody beating Spence.
Nobody beating Spence. Hey, I'll go on record. I don't think no one's beating Spence, but I'm gonna pick Garcia to beat Thurman.
Ooh, that's a bold pick, and that's fair.
Okay.
And
that's
fair.
That's bold.
Yeah.
That's a bold prediction, brother.
But I feel you to a certain extent. I'm picking Thurman, but I feel you to a certain extent.
I do
like
too.
I said, I do believe that Danny Garcia, he raises the bar, when it comes to a level of opposition. I mean, even in the Lamont Peterson fight, which I know a lot of people feel that Lamont Peterson won that fight. I personally felt that Lamont, he may have started maybe a round or two too late. And so I don't have a problem with that decision.
Yep, but I don't either. And even though I picked Lamont to win it, I still think Danny won that fight. Lamont started he got on the gas a little bit too late.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I was impressed with when it comes to Danny is how he was able to actually outbox the boxer in the first half.
Yeah.
Because Lamont was moving around trying to box, but Danny Garcia was out jabbing Lamont Peterson. He was doing the things that Lamont was supposed to be doing to him. So that's why I always say I'm impressed with his skills.
It took him a while for Lamont to figure him out.
Yeah, and you can attribute part of that to probably Danny kind of slowing down too.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But anyway, hey, we're gonna slip in another call. Let's go ahead. I got my man 703 on the phone, man. What's going on, man? 703. You there? Okay, he done fell asleep on the phone, I guess. So, yeah. You know what? Let me go ahead and.
Hey, Dante, man, let me ask you about this, man. What y'all think of the new Chavez Jr. of boxing? David Hay, he fighting Tony. I don't know.
Wait, he said David Hay fighting Baloo? You talking about Baloo?
Yeah, Balloon Tony.
Oh, yeah.
At heavyweight. And they try to hype that fight up, man. Which I'm like, man, it's all BS.
I mean,
it's just like a money grab. And
pretty much
stop doing this to his fighters. He did that to Brook, and he's doing this with Tony now. The guy has no goddamn chance in the world, and he almost knocked him out during the face-off. The fight could have been in there right there.
Yeah,
I saw that too.
That's art imitating. Or that's life imitating art right there. That's like the press conference for Creed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And him and Ward's character got into it.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in the movie too, right?
Yeah. What was he called? Pretty something or something like that? Yeah. But see,
that's crazy.
But at the same time, let's not forget it was Baloo who actually called out David Hay. It was, so it wasn't so much like David Hay was calling him out. But
Shannon Briggs did the same thing though. I mean, Shannon Briggs chased him around, man. He went to his neighborhood, man. He knocked on his door.
Shannon Briggs
still duck him. Like
embarrassing that cat.
And he promised him a fight. He told him fight him on the card. You get to fight me, and then Shannon Briggs is fighting for the WBA title now.
Mm-hmm.
David Hay could have been fighting for that title. You know what I'm saying? And instead, he turned that down because that's a big heavyweight. And you don't want to beat up by a 44-year-old, but he rather fight, you know what I'm saying? I pick on the little that I have no respect for. And I used to be a David Hay fan, but from what he's been doing lately, man, it's been pissing me off from pulling from fights. He broke his back, he broke his toe, and not fighting. I mean, who the hell loses a fight and talking about I lost the fight because of my toe? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Hey, don't sell the champ short, man. He just had a birthday. Shannon Briggs just had a birthday. I think it was yesterday, day before. He was saying he's still ready for that fight. He's 45 now. So you say he's still ready for that fight, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it that when it comes to David Hay, I like David Hay, man. And that's another underrated fighter in the heavyweight division. But, yeah, he needs to stop bullshitting, man, and get in the game and get in there with some of the real heavyweights, because I can't wait to see how Hay is going to look against – because I think Hay against Anthony Joshua is a competitive fight. Yeah. I think that's a 50-50 fight.
I've been seeing it, but Hay has been asking for it. He's saying that he want to put it together next summer.
Did he say that?
He actually said that.
And see, I don't know what's going on.
He wants that fight because of the money.
Yes, of course. We both know that.
He would never fight Joshua, if it wasn't for the money. I mean, he knows he's going to get. I mean, I feel like he's going to get knocked out, but I'm just saying, as far as he knows it's going to be a tough fight. And it's going to be a huge fight in the UK, and they're gonna make a hell of money.
Yes,
because he better get him now before Joshua gets better.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say
I know.
that.
Yeah,
but I tell you, there's a fight.
It don't matter when you get him; he's still gonna get his ass knocked out. I don't think he's getting Joshua.
You say you think I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
I'll ask you all this.
I'll
ask you all this. You know, he's fighting. Is it Molina this weekend?
Yeah, Molina.
Who do y'all see Joshua fighting next? Is it going to be the winner out of the Parker? Is that Ortiz fight? Or is
Vladimir
it
Klitschko?
It's probably Klitschko.
It's supposed to be Klitschko because Vladimir Klitschko, they were negotiating that fight.
That's true.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Vladimir Klitschko said, "If the WBA belt is not at stake, I'm not fighting."
I remember
right?
that.
He said that, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, once the WBA said we'll put it, on the line, then all of a sudden Vladimir Klitschko was injured. You know what I mean? And he couldn't fight. And I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to say he was bullshitting.
But I think it was his toe.
Yeah.
Damn, some bad toes going around.
Okay.
It was bullshitting, Dante.
I was about to say I'm not saying he's bullshitting, but I'm not gonna say he's not bullshitting. You know what I mean? So that's what I was about to say. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, man. But
speaking of heavyweights, that Parker Ortiz fight, who y'all got in that one this weekend?
The Parker Ortiz fight, and we was just about to start talking about that. Me personally, man. Yeah, Joseph Parker against Andy Ruiz this weekend.
Ruiz, I meant.
Ruiz.
Against
Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz. I was saying Ortiz. My bad.
I'm slightly leaning towards Andy Ruiz. My only concern is I wonder if Andy Ruiz is going to get caught with something and get gun shy and be afraid to engage. But if he's confident and he fights, with that confidence that I believe he should have, I believe he goes on the inside. He takes the fight to the ropes. And Joseph Parker, to me, looked very uncomfortable on the ropes when he fought against, what is the guy? I think it's an African guy he just fought.
Oh, yeah.
He fought against a guy who he's a tough opponent. I'm going to try to look his name up. If you guys know in the comment section, go ahead and tell me.
I know who you're talking about.
But, he just fought a guy, a couple fights. It's on YouTube. And the guy kept getting Joseph Parker on the ropes. Matter of fact, a lot of people believe that this guy beat Joseph Parker. When he had Joseph Parker on the ropes, Joseph looked extremely uncomfortable. He had really no inside game, no game off the ropes. So I believe that if Andy Ruiz pressures him,
Carlos
Takam, yeah.
Takam.
Carlos Takam.
Takam.
Yeah, or Takam. Yeah, that's the guy. Exactly. Thank you. But so he looked uncomfortable against him. So,
Yeah.
But Takam was on his way up at one point.
What's that? Yeah, Takam. Yeah.
I thought you said what's his name? Ortiz. I thought you said the heavyweight Ortiz.
Yeah,
I misspoke.
Easy to get the names mixed up.
He was fighting him. Yeah, I thought.
He turned down that fight actually. Ortiz, he actually called out. They actually offered Ortiz. See, getting them names mixed up again.
I know, yeah.
Ortiz offered Ruiz a fight.
Yes.
And Andy Ruiz turned the fight down. So yeah, they ain't nobody looking at Ortiz right now, and even.
Hey, I mean Ortiz might have. Shannon Briggs might gonna have to fight him, man. I feel bad for Shannon Briggs.
Yeah.
Because he's the number one mandatory.
Shannon ain't about to get in there with him.
Champ. Nah, Champ gonna come for him. Ortiz, man, that's gonna be a tough fight for Shannon Briggs if Shannon Briggs have to fight him for the title.
Nah, he ain't gonna fight him, man. He's not gonna fight him. And then you also have like we already talked about, Anthony Joshua against Eric Molina. You touched on it already, Milton. We already know how Eric Molina looked against Deontay Wilder. The question is, will Anthony Joshua be able to blow out Eric Molina the way Deontay Wilder wasn't able to do?
Right.
And I still wouldn't base, this performance on how a Joshua versus Wilder fight would look, but it would be very, very impressive if Joshua could go in there and just blow this guy out the water, because Eric Molina is durable. He's durable. He's not a type of person that you just blow over easily. So hopefully this fight goes to the later rounds, Milt, and we really get to see what Anthony Joshua is made of when he's in the deep trenches.
I really hope so.
Because we got to see a little bit when he fought against his rival from the amateurs, Dylan White.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to see. We seen him get staggered, which he was staggered bad. And it got to the point where he wasn't really dealing with his power anymore.
Right.
Because, the first couple 4 rounds, it was all power.
Yep.
But after, he started dealing with, the adversity and getting hurt, then all of a sudden it became a battle of attrition almost, right? So, but I think this could be another fight similar to that. So, we'll see. But
we have to see what he has in the tank. Because I do believe Molina is going to take him to the deep rounds. I think it's going to be, a good. Like I said, this is a good test for Joshua.
Yeah, very good test. And we ain't talked too much about Abner Mares against Cuellar, but like I already said, man, Abner Mares, like I said earlier, he's on a roller coaster. He's up and down, and he loses one, he may win one every now and then, and now they putting him in there with this Argentine beast, and I clearly see this guy beating Abner Mares. I mean, it's unfortunate that Mares, it seemed like he on the losing end of his career right now when it comes to stepping up in competition.
I know.
He still ain't even got revenge from the Johnny Gonzalez knockout yet. You know what I mean? So this is a fight where I see Cuellar having this coming out party right now because everybody been talking about him, but a lot of boxing fans don't really know who he is, and he'll make some waves if he goes in here and beats the hell out of Abner Mares. So, but I assume we all picking Cuellar for that fight, right?
Oh yeah, I think Mares is going to sleep.
Dang, man, I didn't think he was going to sleep, but
easy going to sleep, huh?
Yeah. Going to sleep.
Yeah, I could see it though, man. I could easily see it, man. So I mean that's pretty.
So that fight is this week too?
Yeah,
yes.
It's just the main
Damn,
event.
How many fights we got?
Oh man, it's
loaded. It's loaded this weekend.
We got Charlo-Williams, Abner Mares Cuellar, Crawford versus Molina, Joseph Parker versus Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua versus Eric Molina. It's a lot of fights, and that's not
Chavez Jr., I think he's fighting too.
Is he fighting too?
See, yes, he is.
Wow.
He is.
Yeah.
Chavez Jr. is
Where
fighting.
200 pounds?
Cruiserweight.
They fighting at super heavyweight, I think. Or something.
He fighting at a catch weight.
Yeah, man. So
he fighting at Canelo weight.
Yeah. Hey, and what you guys think? What you guys think about Errol Spence? Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. I did a video a couple days ago where I said finally serious negotiations because Eddie Hearn, he came out and he said the fight is going to happen most likely in the UK either April or May. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere recently, Kell Brook, he tweets something and he says not the whole truth or something like that. He said is no truth to it or something like that. And then
I saw that tweet.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he also said that he prefers Thurman versus Danny Garcia winner or Manny Pacquiao. So this is the thing. It's like whenever I talk about Kell Brook trying to avoid Spence, you got these fans that take it so personal. They want to defend this man Kell Brook for they just want to defend him to every single extent, right? But at the same time, though, Milt, it's like, isn't it obvious when this man had mandatories, he took them right away before. I mean, it was no hesitation. It was, I'll fight that mandatory later. He never said that. They was calling him the mandatory king, right?
Yes.
Now, he claims that Errol Spence, he would take care of him. But now you got a real mandatory and you don't want to fight him. I mean, what's up with that, Milt?
I have no clue. And I was reading this article where Eddie Hearn was saying, he thought that he was going to stay at, he was going to stop at 154 instead of going all the way to 147 after the Triple G fight. And then he went in, he talked with him. He said, hey, and Brook told him, hey, I want to go to 47. He said, well, if you go to 47, you're going to have to, fight Spence for the, to maintain your title.
You're going to have to fight.
You're going to have to. He was like, I want to go to 47. He was like, well, you trying to keep your title? He was like, yeah, but you're going to have to fight Spence. He was like, well, bring him on then. Bring him on. And then in between that time and now, it's been like, he wants the winner of...
He want Khan.
Yeah.
He want Thurman Garcia winner. He wants Pacquiao.
Hey.
He want everybody but Errol Spence.
Yeah.
And he might call me out next.
Anybody.
Well, that's his only out because, okay, say the 154 thing. Do you think he stands a chance with any of the top guys at 154?
No.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Not at 154.
Hell no.
Yeah, I mean, he may...
Other than Canelo.
Yeah, that's about it. But anyway,
But,
hey,
I don't know. Y'all think he gets Canelo?
I think he would do good against Canelo.
I
think he would do real good against Canelo. I think that's a 50-50 fight, to be honest with you, man. I mean, think of Amir Khan was beating Canelo the whole fight, and it was just one punch that caught him. But with Kell Brook, man, he's way better than Amir Khan. I think. I mean, his style.
He's bigger,
I think,
stronger. So.
Yeah, I think his style is more suitable for Canelo. I don't know if I would pick him yet, but it's a close fight.
I won't pick him just yet. He won't walk into
I think that's
154 and beat
that's
Canelo.
the most winnable fight for him at 154.
Yeah.
I believe.
I wasn't saying he beat Canelo. No, I was just saying that a fight that he could probably win.
That's the only fight. I mean, honestly, I think he would do good against Jamel Charlo too. I think Jamel Charlo. There's some question marks when it comes to Jamel Charlo, especially after that that last fight against was it
Jackson.
John Jackson?
John Jackson.
Julian Jackson's son.
The Hawk's son.
Yeah.
What happened between him and Demetrius Andrade like that? And they're supposed to fight each other, and then nothing happened. Like, what's up with that?
That one I haven't heard a whole lot
about. I
about
heard whispers
that one.
about it, but I didn't think it was anything concrete.
But they're gonna have to fight against each other eventually. I mean, once again, it's the modern day black murderers row right now, where they can't get Canelo in there because he ain't gonna fight him. So they all gonna have to probably end up fighting each other over and over again. Coincidentally, which is what kind of happened with you could even put Vanes Martirosyan on that black murderers row because Lara and Vanes, they had to fight each other over and over again because both of those fighters was calling out Canelo. Canelo wouldn't fight him, but he'll fight Paul Smith.
Let me tell you, in that last fight,
and we're gonna take a call in a minute, guys. So the next person,
but Martirosyan Lara last fight, I'm serious, man. I think Lara won the fight, but I'm telling you, that is I've never seen Lara hit that much.
Lara looked real uncomfortable in the rematch.
He looked very uncomfortable in that rematch.
He looked a lot more comfortable in the first fight. He looked more comfortable in the first
fight against Vanes Martirosyan.
Yeah.
Martirosyan was getting him to the body really good. I mean, he was putting punches together on Lara like I've never seen anyone put punches together on Lara.
Yeah. It was a close.
He cut the ring off on him.
And he started backpedaling a lot more to where it wasn't a comfortable. It wasn't ring generalship backing up. It was more of an uncomfortable, foot movement backing up. So I don't know if something happened to him in that fight, but he pulled out the W, and he
pulled it out.
And the fact that he fought him twice, that was pretty. You got to give him credit for pulling off the dub twice. Well, the first fight was a draw, was it, or was it a win?
Yeah, because they stopped because of the headbutt.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, a win or a draw, one of them. But what's up with I don't know if y'all talked about it earlier, but Conor McGregor coming to boxing, man. What's up, man?
Hey, well, I don't be following a whole lot of
publicity.
Hey, is he coming to boxing? Is he trying to actually?
He got
him a license in California.
I mean, I feel like it's
in California though.
In California.
Hey, man,
he's getting it in more states. He's the only reason he couldn't get it in Vegas because he didn't pay the $150 fee for him throwing a bottle in the UFC fight because he thought it was stupid, and he said he ain't gonna fight there no more. So they didn't give him the license for that because of that reason. But I'm talking. But as far as he got the license. I think he's gonna get him in different states. But I feel like it's a power move to kind of get paid more by the UFC or whatever.
Well, yeah, you remember when he threatened to walk away from the UFC, and all of a sudden they bring him back and he get like what $3 or $4 million, in his last fight. So we know, he'll talk, some shit to get what he wants. But I mean, but no doubt about it, if Conor was to turn pro and box, of course, that's going to, help the sport. It would be great to see him in the ring.
He ain't trying to turn but he's trying to like fight Floyd right away. He ain't gonna take.
No, he would be stupid. I think Conor is smarter than that. I mean, the stuff
who was calling him out, right?
Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah, Paulie calling him out.
Even Amir Khan called him out. Amir Khan called him out because they know that's easy work. That's easy work. Man. And, I mean, if you listen, you got to decipher what people be saying. You got to interpret what they're saying. If you listen to what Conor has been saying lately, he sounds like he wants no parts of Mayweather. Like first Floyd offered him $50 million, and keep in mind, Conor is somebody who used to talk about how Floyd is this big ass bitch. He's this coward. I'll do this to him. I'll do that to him. Then all of a sudden, when Floyd say, "Okay, let's really fight. I'll give you $50 million," no, I want $100 million. When you say something, and he just made like $3 or $4 million in his last fight. First of all, that tells you alone that he's not crazy to get in there. And then recently he said something like, what did he say? I just read something where he said something like, Floyd, he keeps talking about me. And he said something, all he does is run, so I'm not interested in that fight. Those are code words for, I know damn well I can't beat no Floyd Mayweather. Those are code words, man.
You know what he said, too? Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll talk after you.
I was going to say, the thing is, too, after calling out Floyd, he would preface his argument by, Floyd doesn't want to see me in the octagon like a real fight. And it's like, dude, you're calling him out for a paycheck. You're doing the same shit that Ronda Rousey and Dana White do. Y'all rely on names in like a Tyson or a Mayweather, and you try and build your name off of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it is.
Exactly.
And you notice.
About it, see,
go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, the thing about it, what he's saying is, I'm only gonna get my ass whooped for $100 million.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, if I'm gonna get embarrassed by the dude that I despise and I hate, I'm gonna get paid well for it. That's pretty much what he was saying. Yeah. But hey, hold on, man. Let me go ahead and take a quick call, man, because I got these cats on hold. All right, let me go ahead and take this call. We got area code 503 on the line. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Dante, man? It's Jelani, man.
Where you calling from, man?
I'm calling from LA, man, but we had that Canelo, man. But yeah, I just wanted to actually bring it back to boxing, man, if y'all don't mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mind at all.
Oh, thanks, man. Okay, the art of inside boxing, man, is like kind of gone these days, because I'm like into the technical part of it,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing guys like Thurman, get trapped on the ropes, and he's like, he don't know what to do.
Just got his hands up in the high guard. Yeah, go ahead. Uh-huh.
Yeah, especially when he was fighting Porter, And I was like, man, because Porter, man, Sean Porter, man, he's a good dude, man. He seems like a good dude, and I think what's missing with him is I think he needs another trainer, man, because it's like, was it him smothering his work and not being able to. He could have clearly took advantage of Thurman on the ropes, man, when they fought, man, because he's one of those guys that can get inside with his aggressiveness,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I just want to know what y'all think about that, because I think if Danny Garcia can go inside on Thurman, I think he might have a chance. I don't even know if that's in Danny's repertoire.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, man. Danny Garcia is not an inside fighter, though.
Mm-hmm.
With the Porter, the point you pointed out. The thing about it is you got to keep in mind that that's how Porter fights. I mean, if he keeps a little distance and doesn't smother his work, he's going to get countered, and he might get knocked out. So he smothers kind of like for his own defense.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it an ugly fight to be able to win. It's more like his style. If he keeps the distance, he will get countered, and he was getting countered as well in that fight. And he got hurt a couple times if you watch the fight. But at the end of the day, he does that kind of like for his own protection. So his own style suits him. But as far as the Danny Garcia, I don't see him pulling that off, because I think Keith Thurman can fight in the inside better than Danny Garcia can. I mean, they both can't. They're not really inside fighters. Like Errol Spence is the type of dude who could explore that when it comes to fighting Keith Thurman. He could fight him in the inside and stuff. But as far as Danny Garcia, he just don't have the inside work, and I don't see that happening. It's going to be a distance fight.
And to kind of answer and respond to what he was saying, where it seems like, a lot of fighters, they really aren't doing it. I mean, the whole thing is you have special fighters like James Toney, Pernell Whitaker, and today you would say fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward. These are fighters that are comfortable on the inside as well. And you're not a complete fighter if you can't fight on the inside. And that's a basic flaw that a lot of fighters have, that it's another good fighter is going to take advantage of eventually. I mean, when it comes to Golovkin, for example, I always say he's a mid-range hooker. It's crazy because as aggressive as he is and as strong of a puncher as he is, even he's not comfortable on the inside.
He's not.
And we've seen this. We've seen it when he fought against Kasim Uma, even when he fought against Lemieux.
Yes.
He turned it into a jab.
Jab fest.
Yeah, he turned it into a jab fest.
Kovalev too.
Yeah, Oh, no doubt about it.
Doubt.
Kovalev is definitely not an inside. He tied up Andre Ward, and that's another thing that was crazy. A lot of people kept saying it was Ward that was tying him up. No, Ward don't want to tie you up.
Nope.
That's Ward wants to work on the inside.
Right.
So it would be defeating the purpose for him to tie you up on the inside. Kovalev tied him up immediately. Soon as he got on the inside, Kovalev wanted no inside work. So, yeah.
It takes one thing that people don't understand is it takes a lot of skill in order to get leverage.
There you go.
Enough leverage.
And not get hit.
At
the same time.
Yeah. Most fighters generate all that power from their legs and then wing that punch. But it takes a lot of skill in order to fight on the inside to generate enough power to do damage on the inside. And a lot of fighters just can't pick it up.
Yeah.
And you have to be comfortable on the inside.
You got to be, You got to be comfortable.
The one
pocket.
guy that's really I like Felix Diaz, man. That guy.
Oh yeah. That's
what we did with Sammy Vargas. I mean, that guy is one of the. I think he's. I mean, I think a lot of fighters are avoiding him, man. I think he's probably one. He's gonna be one of the best, man.
It could be argued he's still undefeated. I mean, he had the Lamont Peterson. He had the Lamont Peterson fight that was really, really close.
Right.
And then he just had a great performance, like you said, against Sammy Vasquez. Yeah, man. I mean, that right there.
Loma.
Go ahead.
Loma and Errol Spence are good inside fighters too. Loma, they on top when it comes to inside fighting.
Yeah.
Loma with his angles and Errol Spence with the body shots and he's tight and he stay close to him. So that was one of the two also.
And it's funny.
What you guys said. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kirk. It's cool.
I was going to say a lot of what you guys said. Feeling comfortable, getting off those short shots and having leverage and just having the spatial awareness. Right. That comes with proper instruction from guys that actually know how to fight on the inside, and that comes from countless hours of gym work, putting the work in.
Yeah,
and this is one thing, I want to go back to one thing the caller was talking about was maybe Porter needs a new trainer. This is an argument that Dante and I have quite frequently is about whether or not fathers training their sons, at some point, do they let them go or do they continue with them their entire career? I just think that it's always good to get a different perspective. Sometimes you grow when you move away from, someone who's so intimately close to you. I just think that you don't get the growth in and out of the ring sometimes. And I won't say that that's the thing with Kenny. Kenny is a damn good trainer. I mean, he brought his son this far. But what I'm saying is I think to add a few more wrinkles to his game would be wise at this point because he keeps doing the same thing over and over. When you do the same over and over and over and haven't added any wrinkles to your game, I think that, maybe a co-trainer or somebody else to come in and look at that. But I mean, usually when that split happens, a lot of times I've seen it where the son says, "Hey, man, I just think it's time for me to move on." And then it ends up being bad blood, or either they fall out with their father. I think it's dangerous when you get to a certain point to have that, your father in your corner all the time. I mean,
it wouldn't hurt, but I truly believe, me personally, I don't believe anything is going to change with Sean Porter.
Too late to change now, but
old dog.
It may be.
I don't think the new tricks is going to really help him right now. And not only that, but we see Porter do a lot of different things, I believe, in the ring. I mean, he shows his boxing ability. You'll see every now and then he'll charge in, and then he'll reset, and he'll start moving around the ring, jabbing, then he'll charge back in. So I don't think that's ever going to change, man. I think how many fighters have we really, really seen get a new trainer after they've been with somebody for a long time, and we see a drastic change or improvements? I haven't really seen too many fighters like that.
It's not too many. And it's not too many, and I hate to put Emmanuel Stewart out there because he was, the sensei. He's the master. Mm-hmm. But what he did for Klitschko. I mean, when he was working with Holyfield, when he was working with any of his fighters.
He's one of them that definitely improve people's,
He can improve you, and there's some trainers go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just want to follow up with what Kirk said. When it comes to inside fighting, it's more taught than it's natural, I feel. So, certain trainers don't really teach it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like with Pacquiao, for example. I feel like Pacquiao, could have been a good inside fighter, and it would actually help him if he could have fought in the inside. They don't have to be the greatest inside fighter in the world, but just be comfortable in the inside. And when when they don't get taught that and then fight somebody who's an inside fighter and take certain angles on them, it throws them off. So they like to fight at distance.
Right.
So it's more taught, you know, and when you have a trainer that doesn't Andre Ward training, he really teaches inside fighting. So I mean, if you have him, he's gonna work on it. Some trainers will be like, they're just gonna work on what you're good at and what you lack in. They're just gonna tell you what to do, like hold, for example, with Kovalev, you know. Just hold him, I guess, you know, like put him in a headlock, do this, do that.
At some point, he can't get it, you know. But I saw a tutorial one time where Roberto Duran was teaching inside fighting, and it was so masterful, man, how he was hooking the other person's arm and pulling them in a certain direction on the inside. You know, it's a lot of.
That's an interesting video. I got to see that.
Oh man, oh my God, it's incredible, man. It's little nuances and little things that they're teaching you on the inside, how to move another person's hand out of the way. You know, how throwing uppercuts and leaning out, not get caught. Yeah, it's little things, man, that they were working on in the gym, and it was like routine over and over and over. Yeah, it was a good little video that I was watching with Duran. And
speaking of Duran, it's funny you say that because I just thought about the dichotomy of how Andre Ward, you have some of these fans say, oh, he's just a dirty fighter. That ain't inside fighting. That's dirty fighter. If he a dirty fighter, then Roberto Duran was a filthy, stanky dirty fighter because he used to be up in there doing all that kind of stuff. And not only that, but Duran, he would actually, a lot of times Duran would just straight clinch you. He wouldn't even fight on the inside. I know. And that's why, you know, when they try to say some of these fighters are cowards because all they do is clinch and hold and this and that, Duran, he did a lot of clinching on the inside. You know, a matter of fact, it would be a lot of fighters trying to get on the inside with him, and he would tie them up.
He would tie them up.
You know, so, you know, a lot of...
I'll say this. You know, there is effective clinching, and then there's clinching where it's like, hey, man, and Kovalev was right on the edge of, man, you probably need to be warned to taking a point away because he was tying up
leaning on his head and
leaning on him every time. And you know what? It's so funny. Someone was asking me on this One Boxing Facebook page that I'm on. They were asking, you know, who was, you know, about Tony Bird. And I was like, he's damn good ref. You know, I like Tony Weeks myself. But I was saying Bird is damn good, but he's horrible in the clinch. Whenever people are clinching, he doesn't like to break them. He doesn't come in immediately and break them, and he doesn't warn about clinching. And I just and this was before the fight, and I knew it was going to be that way. But I actually thought it was going to be Ward clinching more than Kovalev.
Yeah, well, no, I knew Ward had to get on the inside, you know, because you got to close that gap. You got to take away them long arms. You got to take away the jab and that big ass right hand. The only way he could do that is by staying on the inside. And eventually he was a little successful to where he started landing some sneaky little body shots. You know, if Kovalev was holding one of Ward's arms over here, you know, Ward be throwing hooks with the right hand and vice versa, so on and so forth. So, you know, it was impressive, man. It was impressive. But, but 503, thanks for your call, man.
Hey, thanks, Dante. Appreciate it, bro.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.
That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a real good question. You see, it had us talking for a minute, man. I mean, I'm telling you, man, inside game is definitely. I wouldn't say it's so much of a lost art though, because like you just said, AK, you got a lot of fighters still doing it. You know, you got the Andre Wards, even newer fighters. Robert Easter, when he fought against Comey, Robert Easter is tall. And Robert Easter was even able to fight on the inside.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, man. He was, because he's tall and long, but he could fight on the outside and inside. Demetrius Andrade, another one. You would expect him to not be comfortable on the inside. But unlike Kovalev.
Barthélemy.
Yeah, Barthélemy. Yeah. Beautiful on the inside. Yeah. Beautiful on the inside. So, you know, it's a lot of fighters out there that's basically, you know, comfortable on the inside. But what's so funny is you would kind of expect a lot of the brawlers to be more comfortable on the inside. And this is why it tripped me out when Golovkin was fighting against Lemieux, because you would expect a guy who's comfortable on the inside to annihilate a fighter like David Lemieux, you know, on the outside and the inside. But this is another reason why I truly believe that Golovkin, he's not that comfortable with engaging with fighters, especially if they have power like his, because David Lemieux was one of them fighters who had power close to his, you know? So that's why it's going to be interesting to see how Golovkin deals with a real power puncher but they have the intelligence and the slickness of a Kell Brook on top of that, and maybe they're the natural same size as he is. So that's a big question mark, and I can't wait to see.
I know, and I know we get ready to sign off in a few, but I'm gonna throw this grenade in the room and I'm gonna walk out. Triple G beats Andre Ward. You heard it here first.
Whoa! You just trying to wake people up. You just trying to wake people up. Oh man!
No!
You just trying
grenade in the room, baby.
Yeah.
Boom!
Boom! That's a hell of a grenade right there. Oh man, that's some good comedy though. I tell you that.
You believe that for real, or you just playing?
Hey, is it April?
I'm telling you.
It ain't April yet.
I'm telling you. You heard it here first.
You
heard it here first.
So you really do believe that?
I really believe that.
Whoa, boy.
I really believe that.
Man.
But I mean, I honestly, man, like as far as Ward, he has no chance. Because in my opinion, Andre Ward is bigger than that size-wise, and then he could, bully him in the inside. Andre Ward could beat him from the inside, from the outside. He has longer reach. See, with Kovalev have longer reach than Andre Ward. So that's why I was competitive on the outside. But with Golovkin, he going to box his, head off. And then Golovkin don't move his head. And he don't like, fighting in the inside.
So you
Andre
think
Ward is a master of that.
I put it like this.
I feel like he could beat him in so many ways, like in multiple ways, that I just can't see that happen.
I mean,
you think Kovalev is a better boxer than Triple G?
Absolutely.
I do not.
Absolutely.
I do not.
With Golovkin doesn't box. Golovkin doesn't box though. He's a come forward fighter.
Well, I shouldn't have said boxer.
Okay,
you think he's a better fighter?
I think he is.
Hey,
I think he's more difficult. He's more difficult to beat because he's a master at controlling distance. You see how he keeps you at the end of his punches. You notice how hard it was for Andre Ward and Bernard Hopkins to get close enough to him to even land a punch. And then he can beat you to the punch, like he beat Andre Ward, to the punch with that right hand. I don't believe Golovkin is that type of fighter. Golovkin can only beat you one way, and that's applying pressure. If Kell Brook showed that he can be outboxed. You go back and watch the Kasim Uma fight. Kasim Uma fight showed that he wasn't comfortable on the inside. I think Andre Ward. With Andre Ward, if you compare him to the Kovalev fight, Andre Ward will go in there with a reach advantage. He'll go in there with a height advantage. He'll go in there probably being the naturally bigger fighter. That power advantage that Golovkin is used to at the middleweight division, it will no longer be there. And if he was respecting Kell Brook for 4 rounds, he gonna respect the shit out of Andre Ward.
I put it like
man.
This: if he got
there's a reason why Golovkin people ain't trying to make that fight. And I mean, no disrespect to the man, I think that'll probably be the biggest mismatch of a high-profile fight we've seen.
I'd like to see it at 168, 175. No,
I'm talking about like no. Hopkins Trinidad mismatch.
That's what I.
That's why he ducked him. That's why he ducked him.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I truly believe Golovkin. There's still a lot of question marks when it comes to Golovkin. I'm not going to be fully sold on Golovkin until I see him in the ring with a natural size Kell Brook type of opponent. You know what I mean? A natural size,
middleweight.
Middleweight, or even him moving up one weight class to super middleweight and fighting against the what's his name?
DeGale.
What's the Mexican champion name?
DeGale.
No, Ramirez.
Yeah.
Gilberto, is it?
Yeah, Gilberto Ramirez, James DeGale. When I see him fight against guys like that, then I'll be convinced if he can walk through those guys like he's walking through the Demetrius Wade, Dominic Wades and the Lemieux. If you could treat them like Lemieux and Wades, I'm sold. Then I'm sold.
I don't know, man. I think y'all are underrating Lemieux. I think that
what.
Lemieux was a solid guy.
Fight?
Yeah, but he wasn't an Andre Ward. He wasn't a Kovalev. That's the problem. He wasn't a Nicholas Walters type of opponent.
Not.
He wasn't, a Lomachenko type of opponent. And that's what we have to see. We have to see him in there with a pound for pound top 10 fighter. We haven't seen that yet. How does he do in the playoffs?
And I agree with you. I mean, there is no excuse for his camp. Handling his career the way that they have.
Absolutely.
It's sorry as hell. I don't know what say he has in that. You know what I mean? He's 34 years old, coming up on 35. Maybe he sees, hey, this is where I need to be. I don't know.
If somebody told him to put on some pink shorts, trunks or whatever, and go in there with some makeup on, he ain't gonna do it, right? So the point is,
come on, man.
So the point is, he ain't gonna let nobody.
Oranges,
no. The analogy. The point is,
hey,
he ain't gonna let nobody
say, man, they'll pay you $50 million if you go in there.
Well, that's a different conversation.
If you hoe up and go in there and put on some shorts and lipstick.
But see, the point that I'm making is, he ain't gonna let nobody make him look like a fool if he's not down with it. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
So the whole thing is with your opponents. If your trainer or your promoter is making you look like a fool, making you look like a weak person, a cherry picker, eventually you're going to be like, no, man, I don't want this to be my legacy. This is what Canelo did with Edeslandi Lara. Oscar De La Hoya didn't want him to fight against Lara. He said it. We don't want that fight because it's too tough. But Canelo, because so many people was calling them bitches and all that kind of stuff online, Mexican fans, that's when Canelo said, you know what, fuck it. Y'all think I'm a coward? I'm going to take this fight. But, with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, before this bomb, spread through the whole damn studio, So
what they calling me on that, man? They calling me all kind of...
No.
Last time I was on here, man, I was all kinds of fucking names and shit.
Hey, no, but you're going to have some fans loving that, though. You're going to have some fans loving that. But anyway, man, hey, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, man. I want to say thanks to the panel, as always, Milton Arline. He'll be back on the show.
For sure.
My man, Kirk Jackson from BoxingInsider.com, a.k.a. Arab King. Go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel. You already know your boy, DBN. It's the nation, baby. We'll be back next week, Monday, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We'll catch up with you guys. We on to the next one, y'all. Deuce.
Peace. AK.
Take it easy.
Kirk, hey, good being with y'all, man.
Hey, likewise, man. It was great having to talk with y'all.